Hello everyone, and welcome back here for this new market update. Today we're gonna dive in technical analysis for Bitcoin and also on-chain data, watching the Fed tool to assess what will come next on the rate hike side, on the macro things, watching data also coming from ETH on technical analysis and other altcoins, macro factors, Bitcoin dominance, and so on. So stay with me for this market update. And first things first, I ask you to share, like, and subscribe to the channel and to ping the notification bell to stay updated on the news we have on the market. Probably you don't know because I have still to update it, but I started a podcast. You can find that podcast on Spotify, searching for ChainLog, where every day I analyze what come to the crypto market as a news, movement of price, everything and more, even arguments that are not strictly related to this time horizon we have, like generic data, how to account for mining, hash rate, and so on, for example. So let's get in and let's see what we have. So I guess I can get out of the screen so you probably see better. So let's start from the Bitcoin side price. So here we have this uptrend on the daily. We are still in an uptrend, believe it or not, and this is some kind that we were into some kind of a downtrend on the daily lately, but this higher high change things around, and probably with the new higher low we will make probably right here or some on this zone, and we will assess if in fact and where we'll bounce, because we'll bounce out in my opinion, where we can go, and when we reach here, and we may stay here, where we can go next, below. Actually, we are in an uptrend on the daily, we are on an uptrend on the weekly. You see yourself more or less an higher high, we can say an equal high, an higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So this is an uptrend on the weekly. We are bullish here, and so what come next on the weekly as well? This is bullish for the weekly. We made this. We can say this is our higher low on the monthly. So this is as well a change in the uptrend, because we had our lower high. We need a new higher high here, and to make, in fact, we can say that in one candle we put in an higher low, and we put in an higher high. So I can say that with this, the trend changed on the monthly as well, and this is bullish on the long term, because until we are in this kind of an uptrend where we can still be bullish. As of right now, we did the same things right here. For example, we didn't made an higher low even on the COVID crash, and then we bounced back up. So we need this time, putting in maybe new indicators to see where we can bounce from, because I don't see the price going forward now. We made the RSI here, and we see that this red line right here is overbought level, and we are at an overbought level. I don't think we'll get in much higher in the coming days. We need to cool off these indicators. We need a drawdown in price before getting higher. There's no any other method. Probably with another bullish news, we can see 32k, not more, because of the higher Bollinger Bands, and the RSI can go even 80, not only 70, but and the majority of time you see yourself that it touches 70, it goes even above to touch the Bollinger Bands, but then it fall back down. So this is what we can expect from the price in the midterm. And if we take out the Bollinger Bands, maybe even though the Bollinger Bands here in the middle are 28 to 28.4, 28.5 for the middle RSI, and the middle Bollinger Bands at 28. We can make as well an argument for the EMAs. Here we have all the EMAs, the exponentials and the simple moving averages, and here you see yourself that the first bounce off for a bullish continuation is 29, but I don't think 29.5 will be the case right here. We need to at least get to 28, so at the level of the 50 EMA on the daily, and we have a lot of support even as well, 27.5 and 27k level, where there is the 100 the EMA, for example, this purple line right here, and this is the 200. It's another support if we fail on the 100 to stay above the 100 here. But I guess we'll see. I'm expecting this as much in the case in the coming weeks, probably to touch here slowly but slowly before getting higher. If we have to fold this, there is the 200 right here SMA and the 200 EMA that will help us sustain the price. So in that case, we'll have that. I don't think we'll get below this trend line right here at support from the price, because that will bring us down, as I already said, probably retesting not only the 25k level, but also the 23.5, 24k level. So there is this opportunity on the daily. On the weekly, there is almost the same opportunity right here. If we see 24k level is the support at the price action candle level, and here assessing the DMAs, we are at the same levels. You see yourself, more or less 27k. There is the 200 SMA that will help the price. There is this trend line right here that is helping the price thing up. So we have a lot of support coming from 28, we say on the daily, for a short-term price continuation, but on a mid-term, on the weekly, we see that we have support coming from 26 to 27.5, 28 as well. So it's not only that, we'll see on the on-chain data that we have more or less the same support. So that kind of support, I'm expecting at the 27, 27.5, 28k level. So don't really, we are not going that much down from here. And the same goes here from the monthly. We have at the same level, for example, the 12 that is supporting the price, the 12 EMA, and then we have the 26 EMA as well. But at resistance, at 33k, we have the 26 SMA. So I don't think we'll get much more than 33k, other than the fact that this is a resistance zone for the monthly chart as well, and this is a huge resistance zone. So it's nothing really that we can tackle in the time, but we need time, and we don't have it. And in the case of the fall from this line right here, the same goes here. If we fall back from the 25k level right here from the price action candle, there is the first support. We fall back down to 23k level, and I don't think we'll go there because the 50 EMA is a huge support, but in the case that is the next support level. And I don't get into the 3 month because it's actually useless in my opinion for almost everybody. And even though like right here we can still say that we are even searching for a lower high. So this is a changing trend on the 3 month that will change in time, but it doesn't. We doesn't need that for this kind of analysis. So still on the weekly, let's say on the Bollinger Bands and on the RSI, we are at a point where we need to cool down the Bollinger Bands to fall back down, and 27.5 still the middle Bollinger Bands on the weekly, the middle RSI 26k. And the support from this zone right here, this trend line right here, is still there. On the monthly chart, that's more or less the same. 28k, the middle RSI, and the middle Bollinger Band is at actually 29.9, and we are a little bit back above, and we are just sustaining the price right there. If we fall back down just for a little bit before closing the monthly candle, that will bring down the price still to test these levels right here. But I think that if we can sustain from that point of view, nothing changed on the monthly. If we can sustain it for 2 days, so for 2 days, the bulls have to stay above 30k for 2 days and a half, because that will bring up the monthly chart. But they can move the price. They are good at that. In fact, we are going to see now, for example, that the majority of the supply that there is in circulation is being priced below 30k. In fact, if we get out, for example, all of this, that this is we are going to talk in a bit. This is a supply distribution percentage of the categories of hodlers that are actually moving the price. And those are sharks, whales, and ambex. And sharks are 100 to 1k. 1k to 10k are whales, and ambex are 10k's or more Bitcoin. And we see that the majority of this, the majority of the supply they have, for example, for ambex, 76% of the supply is actually held below 30k, and the same goes for whales, 73% below 30k, and sharks are 70% below 30k, and the majority are held at these prices. So we know that those are the categories of hodlers that move the price more, because we saw on the realized price. If you didn't see the last time, 2 days ago on Monday, I did an on-chain analysis, so you can go there to see the latest realized profit chart, and you see if you follow me since 1-2 years ago, you see the same kind of patterns: whales, ambex, and sharks moving the price, always them in bear market more than ever. And the fact that we are here and we are talking about address band cost basis distribution is because these are two kind of different metrics. So here we have, for example, the average of the hodlers cost basis divided by time. So there is the 600 or less hodlers, 140 days or less hodlers, 3 months or less hodlers, and 1 month or less hodlers. And we see right here that the support coming from their cost basis in this kind of pattern then is coming from 28k level to 27.1, but the very best support we have, giving out all of this short terms, is this. That this is the you see yourself the importance of this line right here, because it is the divided line between a continuation of a bullish pattern and drop down and continuation of a bearish pattern. So we have to sustain the price right here, and the use support will come at 26k as of right now. So 26k, 28k, 27k, there is always this kind of pattern, and we see this here as well with the realized price distribution. That is not the average as we saw right here, is the distribution on a volumetric candle on a chart of this amount being moved on chain. So the majority of people on short-term holders on the warm color you see right here have their supply from 30 to 26k. This is the support we have right here from short-term holders, and short-term holders are actually those who move the price we saw earlier, that are whales and so on. In fact, if we take out here shrimps, crabs, and so on, fish, the majority of them are actually 26k, 26.5 to 30k level as a support as for the volumetric candles. So we have the support coming from all of this pattern right here to 26. Next we have 23.5, and the same goes right here. If we get out them, so the short-term holders, we see that in the majority, the more or less the majority comes from 424k level at the very least. So um, we see that this is the kind of pattern we have. 24k. If we fall back down from 26k, we have the 24k level as well for the long-term polarized price in general. So all coincide with this kind of analysis, but another thing that coincide with what we expect is going to be the next drawdown to grab liquidity at the 27, 28k level until with maybe a shadow on the 26k level, reaching for this kind of trend line right here that supports the price, is going to be because of the fact of the Fed Watch tool here that says to me that something changed. And in fact something changed because until some days ago we had the rate cuts until the end of the years, and now we are pressing in another rate hike of 25 bps at 80%, and something changed really with this. Probably the price will go even will reach for new lows, in fact at least on the short term, to find liquidity even for this, because we have a rising interest rate, and more liquidity will find itself better useful in the bond, for example in the bond market with a high interest rate, than into a risk on asset like Bitcoin. And not only that, because if we take probabilities, we have this rate hike right here, and probably next month we'll probably get into another rate hike, because if something changed right like this, it's probable that we get into another rate hike of 25 bps at this point. And at this point we'll start probably cutting rates at the end of 2024 and into 2023, 2025. This is more or less what I can see, because they will not change their politics, monetary politics, and monetary policies in general in a matter of 2 or 3 months, like we are expecting right here. So we are expecting 4 months of pause and then rate an easing. Essentially is a quantitative easing, because it's the only way we can pump the economy with this amount, for example, of money supply in circulation. As of right now, we have reached for an amount of money supply that we've never reached before. Even if we had a little bit of a drawdown for interest rates getting higher, we are never reached so high in so much time. So this is what I can expect. Even another thing that I saw earlier, was right here. Okay, this is the federal debt in millions is 31.4 trillions, and if we take into account that match, we can take this as a percentage of the GDP of the Americans in general, so the USA, and we see that we came down from 2020 130% to 180%, but we never, and they say we never get below the latest even the latest high we made on a chart. So I don't expect it to reach here 100 before getting into a new easing and to more debt being printed out from the public, and to another cycle of easing to monetize this debt. So it's a question of time, probably 1 year before something will break and easing will go through now. GDP and all of that, we'll see probably a spike even in a rate. This is unemployment rate. This is the rate U6. So it doesn't take into account some categories of people, but is the more not the more accurate, but the more used in general. And we see that we are at 3.7%, rising slowly. At the very end, every time we rise slowly, we get into a point where we rise all in one time. Every time we got to a low level and we stay below here for a little bit. We rise a little bit and then we rise all in once. We rise a little bit and then we rise all in once. So I'm expecting something like this in the coming years. Obviously, this is a monthly chart, so I'm 3 month chart. So I'm not expecting this to go up now. Probably in two or three more candles on the line, and so on. So as of right now, I'm not expecting that. Anyway, this is for Bitcoin itself and for the long term, short term in general. For Ethereum, there are arguments to be made here. For example, I'll get out my latest, obviously my latest take profit, even though I got a lot of profits here, and here I'll get out a little bit. Almost everything, I guess. I can actually remove drawings in total. Okay, so we need to make another argument for this because Ethereum is slowly decreasing into what it can be seen as supply shock, and it is doing it really faster in comparison to Bitcoin. I actually made an article on an Italian journal last week that talked about the fact that we had I calculated 3 years more or less before we have a supply shock on the Ethereum side on the supply and exchanges for Ethereum. And it's not only that, it's the fact that it can make dividends for people in general if you can pay taxes on that. And there is all the support at the developer level. Is the fact that even though it is more or less like as a company that is helping Ethereum to get up every time, so there is this expectation from this company is not considered a security. So there is all of this. I'm not expecting a flipping on the Ethereum side, but I'm expecting more or less a supply shock, and instead rising and still rising in the coming years, months and years, into the contract of the what it was the 8.2 contract, now called the Beacon layer. So staking into that contract, because 5% with so undervalued asset, because in my opinion it's an undervalued asset if we take into account the possibilities it has in general for the next 10 to 30 years. It's enormous, and so we make some assumption right here to take into account. In fact, you see the Ethereum Bitcoin chart is actually going down as of right now because obviously there was this kind of pattern right here that I was expecting to break down at a certain point because we got up. And I traded all along here, and we stayed here for a long time horizon, and now we have to find support at another level. Probably we need to retest this kind of level, so we got back below before getting higher. But still, in the long term, this will outpace itself and going into a new all-time high before the next bull run ends. So I'm expecting not the flipping, but Ethereum as for its dominance anyway, to gain up to 25 to 30%, and Bitcoin the same, getting into what it is right now, probably before the all-time high to 60% at the very maximum, because there is a lot of resistance right there. But and then again at the very bottom to again the 30%. So I'll see those coming together. Not the flipping still. We need still 10 to 20 years for that, because when we got to the 40% level on the Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum dominance will be probably still at 25% again, but slowly increasing in comparison to Bitcoin, obviously. Not because of the fact that there isn't demand for Bitcoin. It's just that people who actually buy Bitcoin are different from those who want more Ethereum on the chart, and these are institutional mostly, even for ESG kind of analysis. So there is this to take in consideration. Obviously, now we are getting higher on Bitcoin because people are exiting altcoins to enter into Bitcoin. But next, we'll have the rotation of liquidity, and the first things we will see is as soon as Gary Gensler says that Ethereum is not a security, we'll see this liquidity getting into Ethereum, and this is what I see right now. Even though there isn't really much to say, even from the DXY, that will slowly and slowly. This is obviously a bearish continuation pattern because we retested to the upside here. We're not going really much down, but still there is the possibility that we retest in the coming month, years, the 93 level on the DXY, and this will help Bitcoin getting higher, Ethereum getting higher, and all these risk on asset getting higher in general. For the S&P, people told me just a little bit. We talk about that just a really a little. That there was this drawdown. It's not because there is fear of something. It's just it is very overextended. You see yourself. We got into the upper trend line, into the upper Bollinger Band, into the overbought level for the RSI, and we can expect this to continue in the short term because we see the VIX getting down from the 20 to the 13. That is a very low level in comparison. This is the fear index. Let's say it's called the fear index, and the 20 is the low fear level from 20 to below, and 20 is starting to be the fear level. Let's say, and the more we get up, the greatest is the fear. So this was just a drawdown in general, and is not taking into account the VIX is built like with options. So I'm not going into that right now. But if you want to know more, I suggest you to study more about the VIX as well. And there is also the hikes from the Eurozone. I'm not going into that as well. If you have any question about altcoins in general, because there are a lot of altcoins. So I see Trias, for example, that is one of my speculation. Let's say it's getting up from where I bought it. I'm now more or less into the upside. I'm expecting into the bull market to get. I use continuation of profit. If we can break through, for example, this trend line right here, it will be huge for me. Obviously, these are not financial advice as always, guys. It's just me watching some altcoin chart. It isn't really good to see something like this in general, but since it is not known, it was not known until the China coin narrative went on. Was not knowing really much. And now we have almost all the supply been minted, so there is 10 million supply, not really much, and we have a lot of them being minted already. I say that as a good price continuation. Then the fundamentals can revolutionize the industry because it's a scalable system that is automatic and can convalidate transaction automatically even without miners. So alone, like with IA, for example, I think it's a good project. Anyway. For this price pattern, I don't like to see it, but I see it in the short term. For example, that is actually taking the supports every time and getting higher into a new zone. So it's good. And DOT it got down. It's in a bearish pattern lately. And we can expect to buy more at $3, $2.50, in my opinion, if we continue like this. But if the bull market comes before obviously the first buy is at 4.2 and so on below. This is as well a price chart that I don't like mostly. Like that of Atom, for example, that is something like all into the upside and then all into the downside, but it's an altcoin chart like most that is just like most of the altcoins when there is a bear market. in the if you have any question about any altcoins you want me to make a technical analysis on, I will be glad to do it. For example, we can make a lot of those things, but I don't want to get too EV today into this kind of analysis. I just want to see where we can go. Ada, Ada. This is the kind of more or less the amount I would enter, because at $3 it wasn't even at $1 and a half it wasn't to buy, and this is more or less the price for me has value. Probably 10 cents it will be better for ADA. I know there is a lot of people that have ADA in their portfolio, but I don't like it from a tokenomics perspective, and for the fact that the Cardano Foundation is actually sustaining its operations with the selling of ADA, so we have a huge sell pressure coming from them. They have a lot of coins on their treasuries, so I don't like something like that, and so I didn't enter it. But I see, for example, in my opinion, obviously the Zilas in the future will do well. We just need to wait for the young generations to get into the sports, and to use the crypto market, the crypto in general, to tokenize their assets on the sports side of things. So I think that in 20 years, Tilas will outperform the many altcoins, if it manages to stay alive, obviously on their foundations as well there. So we'll see. For today, anyway, this is it. So I hope you enjoyed the content, everybody, and we may see you on another video. I ask you another time to share, subscribe, and like the video, and to follow me on the other social network. You can find those in the description. I wish you the best things in life as always: money, love, and health, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.